Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the OA podcast where we have lots of opinions, but most of them are pretty average. I'm Anna.
And I'm Monica. Recently, we came across this post on Instagram about letting go of toxic traits. I mean, with it being a new year and everything, specifically Filipino toxic traits. So, since many people are still hanging on to the new year, new me mindset, if you watched our previous or if you listened to our previous episode, we don't really have New Year, new me mentality. We have New Year still OA.
Yes. New Year still
uh,
away.
yeah, but we thought it would be pretty cool and fun to discuss these traits and see if they're worth leaving behind.
Yes. It's super interesting. Like, I just feel like there are a lot of toxic traits out there, but throw in like the Filipino-ness of it all, and it just makes for a
Mm,
really good conversation. So,
yeah,
yeah.
I feel like a lot of these can translate over to like other cultures, other
Mhm.
um people and their families.
Mhm.
It's just obviously because we're both Filipino.
Yeah.
Um, we are very familiar with these specific ones.
Yes.
So, yeah, the post that we actually are referring to is from One Down Media. We'll link it down
Yes.
below if you're
We'll link
interested
it
in
for
looking it
sure.
out. They have a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff. And I think this post was in collaboration with Love Dear Floor, which is funny because Floor is actually part of my first name. It's actually Monica Floor.
Yes. I thought that
um
was your maiden name, remember?
yeah.
I was like, I don't even know what your maiden name is.
No, well, it's, typical Filipino things. My name is very, very long. It
Very long.
consists of many names. But yes, how about for those who aren't familiar or aren't aware,
Mhm.
what is a toxic trait?
Now that you say it, I don't know how to explain it.
It's like you know what it is.
Yeah. Okay, actually, I just thought about it right now. I
Okay.
think it's like, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but now that I think about it, I think it's like a behavior that people exhibit that is like accepted by others because something like it's always been done this way. It's like a cultural thing, or like it's just something that we're
Society
used to. Yeah.
thing.
So generational, like, that type of thing. So I think for me, that is my understanding of a toxic trait. Like, what is that? Like, tell me if you have like more to add or if that's not right.
I think that's pretty close. I think a toxic trait, yes, while accepted, it's not necessarily liked.
Yes.
It's not a
Hmm.
a good thing necessarily.
Yeah. But
So
we just
people
put up
might
with
do
it.
it, but
Yeah.
we put up
Yeah.
with it. That is a
Yeah.
very big thing with toxic
Yes.
traits. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
or
sure.
like to say like, like someone's always been like that, so just let it go type thing, right? It's like
Sure.
one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure when you hear some of these that we're gonna bring up, although they're gonna be in like Tagalog terms, um, they're very similar things that like other people can represent. And it's like a mindset that us and maybe you could try and stop doing because we're human.
Yes.
No one's perfect. Um, but we all have a little toxic trait or five in us. So
Hopefully not.
um, uh, yeah. So we were
Okay.
scrolling through this post and I just found like a lot of these, sadly, a lot of ones that I do. I have a lot of these toxic traits.
Really? Come
Or at
on.
least I I make a mental note that I don't like this about myself
Mhm.
and I'm trying to actively change it.
Yeah. What I thought of when Mon was the one that like shared this with me. She's like, this would be a great topic. And it's just like a lot of these, I feel like is stuff that I grew up with. And I think it's a lot of stuff that we all grew up with that we don't necessarily agree with. And we all know is probably something that we should kind of try and like move away from. So I don't think you exhibit any of the like I'm like kind of like okay, let's get into it. let's get into it, guys.
Let's
Okay.
jump right
Yeah.
in.
So the
Please
first,
do.
yes, yeah. So the first toxic trait, like, let's start off easy. Okay. Let's not go in
Yes.
too hard right away. Okay. So the first toxic trait that we have on here, very common. We call it Filipino time. And I've heard
Mm,
this said in other cultures too, like, oh, they're on Mexican time, they're on Indian time or whatever. So it's not just Filipinos, but what
right.
it basically means is that we're always freaking late for everything, right?
Yes. I'm like
Okay.
the opposite of Filipino time. I'm like anti-Filipino time where I've known that being on Filipino time is a bad thing. Like people don't like it, but a lot of people do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I was raised to not ever be on Filipino time. I'm always on time. I
You
if anything,
are.
I am always early because I refuse to be late. And if I'm late, I feel terrible.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
I
a lot of the people who are on Filipino time and they're late, they don't necessarily feel terrible.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, sorry, we're just on Filipino time," as if
Yeah,
that
it's
is
like, "Oh,
like
you
an
know."
yeah, like, Okay, so I will like to say that I agree with you. You do not exhibit that trait whatsoever. You are either early or on time, or if you're not gonna be on time, you'll tell me. Like, you'll text me
Mhm.
like, "Our ETA is blah, blah, blah,"
Yeah.
which I super
There's no
appreciate.
reason
Yeah.
you should never find out later that, like, I'm
Yes.
late. I'm like,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna be late by 5 minutes."
Yes. I don't think that, like, for me personally, I don't think I do this either. I think we're pretty good. I think it's disrespectful, to be honest with you,
Mm,
when you say you're going to show up. I mean, I totally get it. 5, 10, 15 minutes, even 30 minutes. Okay. I totally get, but sometimes people are like hours late for like, and here's a scenario that like I can think of. We as like Filipinos and like we have a lot of like family parties that we go to, gatherings and stuff like that. And like people like prepare food for you and prepare it like, to be served hot. You know what I'm saying? Just be on time and respect the time and the effort that it took to put this together for you. And
right.
I just think like when it's that late, you're talking like an hour or whatever,
Mhm.
it's very, very rude. And especially for things like weddings or like,
Oh my
events
god,
like
yeah.
that, it's embarrassing. And, I just don't think that I don't really think I don't know. Do you still think there's people that exhibit this type of behavior? I feel like our generations are like better at, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like I know a lot of people like that do this. Even my parents are really good about time. My in-laws are like you, either early or on time. So I'm not around this a lot. So I don't really
Mm.
know if people still do
Um,
this.
I mean, I'm sure no one really does it on purpose, but if
Mhm.
they do, if there is like an intent behind it to being late, I get the idea of like not wanting to be first at parties because
Yes,
it's like
I am like that.
it's awkward.
Yeah, yeah. I'll
I like
admit
try
to
and
that.
time it. I'll
Yeah,
try and time it so like
yeah,
it's like, "Hey, where are you?" Or
yeah.
like, "Are you there already?"
What time are we going, right?
No, I'll be in the car. Like, just
Yeah,
like
I'll wait for you
but
here.
But to be late, not even like 5, 10, 15 minutes late, but you're like
Yeah.
an hour late without any good explanation. Because there
Mhm.
can be traffic, there could be like car issues, like there's total like valid reasons why you're
Yeah,
late.
for
But
for
if
sure.
you're just like, "Oh, I slept in.
Yeah, or I don't
Oh,
care or whatever.
I need
Yeah,
to make a few stops for him." It's like, so
yeah,
I was lower on your priority, like,
yeah.
to attend. Um, but I think people who typically coming in late, I don't know, they have kids, I don't know, other external factors that I can't
Yes.
relate to just yet.
Mhm,
I don't wanna justify a lot of their toxic traits,
mhm.
but I understand there's reasons.
Yeah, I
But sometimes you
understand,
can
like
tell
yeah,
when
I
someone doesn't
I
respect someone's
totally,
time.
like, understand. I have a story. As you know, my brother and his fiancée, um, had a baby,
Woo!
the love of my life,
Woo!
Maisie, or we threw them a baby shower, myself and, Winnie's cousins threw a baby shower,
Mhm.
and, like, I forgot about Filipino time. Like, I guess, like, I'm not really used to being around it, so I set things up, and I was like, I kind of messed up because, like, so I want to say the party started at like noon or one, right? And I had a taco truck there, and I had them ready right at the start of the party.
Um,
'Cause I forgot that people show up late, right? Like, I didn't know, and they were only there for, like, 2 hours. I think they were, like, a
um,
2 to 2.5 hour time slot for the party. Say the party started at noon, like, people didn't start like, the party wasn't, like, in full swing till about 1:30.
that
So,
taco
like,
truck was like, "This is the easiest event I've
yeah.
ever done."
So it was just like an hour and a half had gone by of their time, and they only had like
Yeah.
a half hour to an hour left, and people were just coming then. So I was like, "Oh my god, I totally forgot that people
Mm,
show up at parties this late." Like there was people that showed up like an hour and a half, 2 hours later than the time that we had advertised. And I totally had I remembered because I and also like I feel like this is the first big thing that we did like after COVID, like you
mm.
forget about like stuff like that. But I do remember thinking like, damn, had I remembered, I would have had the taco truck start at like 1 and then
Ooh.
run till 3 or 3:30 instead of having them
Mhm.
there on time. So it was fine. Like everything worked out. We had like tons of food. I totally forgot that like sometimes you have to adjust. And for an example, it's like the wedding I just went to in the Philippines, the time that they put on the invitation, they actually started like a half hour after that, and they did it on purpose because they
Ah,
knew that people were gonna show up late, which is just like, "Oh, yeah, duh." I
wait,
remember
so the
you
posted thing
yeah.
was including the time.
So, they told us to be there at 3:30. They told us to be at the church at 3:30, but the ceremony did not start till 4, and they knew that.
Got it.
Like, they just did it
Yeah.
on purpose, which is
I
very
have heard of that where they, like, intentionally add a buffer for
yes,
people who don't come on time.
yes. Yeah.
And I'm sure there was, like, things while you waited, right? Like, for people who
Oh,
actually showed
yeah, it
up on
was just
time,
like I mean, like, there's so many people, like, we were just, like, chatting it up,
catching
taking
up.
pictures, and, like,
Hmm,
seeing
yeah,
these people that you haven't seen in a really long time, and as someone that worked in the wedding industry, oh my god, like, we would coordinate weddings, the bride would be walking down the aisle, and there would be, like, a group of people waiting for her to walk down because they showed up late, so we would, like, hold them back and not let
yeah.
them sit until you're not gonna, like, find your seat while the bride is walking down the aisle, that's crazy. But
"Pardon
just
me, miss.
yeah, but just like,
Excuse
stuff
me."
like that, like, that's the times when you see it and it's just like, "Dang, like, it's a freaking wedding. Cannot be late," so
Well, and before this post, they say they're giving us a toxic trait. They're describing it, but it's about 2025 resolutions on
hmm,
essentially fixing it or changing your mindset about it.
yeah,
So, this one says about Filipino time, instead of being chronically late or quote blaming it on our culture, this post says to stop excusing yourself for disrespecting people's time and just do better. I agree.
I
Just
agree.
do better.
Yeah, and I think that, like, most people practice this, and I totally, like what you said, understand, like, there's a lot of circumstances where it's not possible, like, people that have lots of kids to, like, get
Yeah.
together or, like, some people have to work and can't be there on time and, like, stuff like that. I think it's just what we mean is just the people that just, like, just don't care, and they just do it because it's just
But
what
even
they're
who
used
have
to.
people who have kids, right? They take it into account that like, okay, my kids take a while to get ready. So I
Mhm.
know I have to be there at 3. I'm going to start getting them ready at 12. Like you know, like
Yeah.
they take their time to consider the
Yeah.
time of the
Yeah,
event.
it's a thing.
That
It's definitely a thing. If this was like a flight that you had to make and you had your, 5 kids, like you're gonna make that flight. You're gonna make those adjustments. So just because it's not something that like serious or like whatever, you should still, I think, to be honest, like it's a lot of respecting people's time. That's what I think
Mhm,
about when it's like being late.
I agree. So if you're listening out there and you feel like you've been running on Filipino time, time to work on it. Try to be closer on time. I'm not saying
Yeah.
to always be on time because
Yes.
that's hard for people to do sometimes. I
Yeah.
get it,
Yeah.
but making an effort is better than
Appreciated.
nothing. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and appreciate.
Definitely, yes. All right, what's our next topic, Mon?
Our next one is actually you should have said this one because you're
I
wearing
know,
it on
I
your
should have
freaking sweater.
yeah, I'm wearing it on my sweater for those
Where
that
did you
you
get your sweater, by the way?
so, we used to watch this YouTuber, Alyssa Lenore.
Oh,
years ago, and she had, I think it's like a brand on Etsy or like a little Filipino like company on Etsy that like gifted it to her, and I thought it was cute. So
mhm,
it's actually, I'll say it, it's bahala na. So
mhm.
my understanding for me, this word is like we'll see or like whatever. Like I don't know what it really
Ah,
translates to, but it's a very like nonchalant like type
yeah.
of like response. Like
I guess I hear it in, like, different ways, and I can see that I could hear that it means, like, different things
mhm,
to different people depending on the
mhm,
context. I
uh-huh.
mean, here it says "bahala na" means leaving it up to fate, essentially.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't
I
really agree with that, but okay, go ahead.
my context when I was ever told, "Bahala na."
Means no.
I feel it so triggering even, like, hearing myself say it. "Fine, do whatever you want." And I'm just like,
Really?
"Ugh,
Yeah.
I
You
don't."
know what I think, man? That's bahala ka.
Well, yeah, I mean, in that sense, but, like, I guess I use it in the same sense. I know there's probably grammatical things. I don't really
Yeah,
speak
yeah.
Tagalog, so I don't really know, but I
Yeah,
hear both of those and I think of the same thing.
yeah. We should Google it. Like, okay,
Or
hold on.
forget it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Or like,
"Bah
okay, so I could
bahala na.
share. Okay,
Bahala."
are you gonna, I'll Google it, okay?
Go ahead, Google it. But yeah, according to this one, it says "Bahala na" means leaving it up to fate. And okay, while she's Googling it, I apologize in advance for any of my pronunciations for
No, you're
Tagalog
fine.
words
Okay,
because
and
I
it's
don't
so,
speak Tagalog.
yeah,
I
I thought,
understand it.
yeah.
I do not speak it.
This is so weird because in it means like it's like all different things. Like it's not what I thought, but like when I googled like bahala meaning in English, it means take care. Bahala? Hmm.
Mhm.
This one other one says the person responsible for something, the in charge, a person in charge taking care of something. I don't know.
Okay.
That's okay. But, like, so
Oh, yeah.
my interpretation, and this is, like, the way I grew up, and I hate this term because if I asked my mom something, like, her specifically, this is, like, her motto. Like, it's kind of just like, "Whatever, like, can we go to the mall?" "Bahala na." It's like, "We're not going to the mall." We're not, it's basically, like, my
Oh.
interpretation, it's, like, a loose way of, like, giving someone hope, but you're not really gonna do it. But it's
Ah.
like
Oh,
almost like a
okay.
no, like a no without saying no. My cousin posted something recently. She's like, the context of the word, like, hopefully, like, it's just like in some context, it's to me, the way I interpret it, it's just like when someone said, like, do you want to go out? Well, hopefully we get to do it. It's just like saying, like, we're probably not going to do it, but kind of putting it in a way where it's like giving someone like I don't know. I don't know. That's just so for me, because of my upbringing and like my mom always said bahala na, and it was always like, oh god, so we're not going to do it or whatever it was that you're
Oh.
asking for permission for or like asking for. Whenever she said that, my brothers and I always felt like it was like a no. So I kind
So
of have like a negative connotation of it.
So I guess like the whole leaving it up to fate. It's like whatever happens, happens.
Yes, yeah, like
And
whatever,
in
yeah.
that context, because you heard it so much and usually it led up to a no or
Yes,
it never happened, you just
yes,
associated it with
yes,
is not
yeah.
gonna happen.
Hmm.
So yeah, my version is the ka, not the na.
Uh,
Bahala ka. And that's what
yeah,
I'm using in
yeah,
a whole
yeah.
different way.
I get it. I totally get it
But
now that you're saying it. It's just like whatever, like do whatever you want or
yeah.
whatever.
But I
Yeah.
remember I mean, I never said the phrase "bahala na," right? But I know that whenever I said whatever, and, teenagers, kids, they always say
Mhm.
whatever whenever they're young. That would
Yeah.
trigger my mom because she's like,
Yes.
"Don't tell me whatever." Well,
Yeah.
in the same way, don't tell me "bahala na."
Yeah, Mon, you know what I feel like? It's like when you say it like "bahala ka," right? It's like
Mm.
when you've
Ugh.
annoyed your parents so much, like you're bugging them for something, and they're like, "Fuck it, do whatever you want." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
it
kind of like is
escalates
that,
from there.
yeah, yeah. It's just like, "Fuck you," not "fuck you," but like whatever. Like do what you want
My
because you're
mom was
getting
secretly telling me, "Fuck you."
like it's just like they're so annoyed with their child,
Yeah.
like
Forget
kind of
it.
like
For
pestering about
Yeah.
something that you just, the parent is just like given like do whatever you want or whatever,
Yeah.
like bahala ka na sa buhay mo, right?
Oh
That's the other
god.
one. Oh my god, why isn't Dave here with us? I feel
Oh, yeah,
like
he
he would
could probably say
yeah.
this a lot better than I can.
Yeah, yeah. But, like, bahala ka sa buhay mo means, like, what
Ugh.
I just said, like, do whatever you want with your life.
I know you're not saying it to me, but every
Yeah,
time I hear that phrase, even though it's
yeah.
not directly to me,
Mhm.
it just hurts.
It's
It's so
triggering.
triggering.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
yes, in this sense, the toxic trait of thinking the mindset of bahala na is just like whatever happens, happens.
yeah,
Um, it's just kind of being like, yeah, nonchalant, not really caring, not really doing anything to like make it happen.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the resolution for this, because it's not necessarily a good thing to have, because if you're just whatever about life, then
Yeah, how are
it's
you ever
like,
gonna get anywhere or whatever, or, like, have
yeah,
goals or whatever.
how are you gonna enjoy anything if you're always about whatever, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
So the resolution that they posted to this toxic trait is to stop being scared of failure and start taking real steps towards pursuing your dreams. So I guess they're in relation of like, yeah, I want my business to succeed, but whatever
mhm.
happens, happens, I guess.
You
No,
know
it's
you
like,
know
no,
another
do something about it.
you know what other, like, English, like, term I
Mhm.
associate with bahala na is "we'll see."
We'll
Kind
see.
of like
You have to say
"We'll
it like
see."
that.
Yeah, like, "We'll see
Yeah,
what
we'll
happens,"
see.
but you're not, like, taking initiative. Like, we can put it to this, like, say you wanna go on a trip, and it's like, we'll see if we
Yeah.
go," instead of making plans, figuring out your finances, seeing if you could actually accomplish
Figuring out
going
the
on a trip or
dates.
whatever. Yeah,
Mhm.
like, I feel like that is another kind of, like, way that I kind of associate bahala na to, like, English. It's like, "We'll see," with a shrug, right?
Sure. Sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure. On the flip side, it's like sometimes if you are a chronic overthinker like myself and you over bahala, I don't even know I don't even know that's how you would say that in my Taglish. But if you overthink and you constantly stress about something, sometimes I get it. It's
Yeah,
okay to
yeah.
say
Agreed, yeah.
it's fine. We'll see.
Yeah,
Don't
it'll
worry about
figure
it.
itself out, like,
Yeah.
it'll work out, yeah,
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 but
I
you
get
don't
it,
apply that to every single aspect of your life. There's a balance for
yeah.
sure.
I don't think either of us really, like, exhibit this. I feel like you and I are I don't know, like, in a very casual way, we can be like this when we're like, "Okay, we're gonna see each other on Saturday. I don't know what it is we're gonna do. I don't know what it is we're gonna eat or whatever, but bahala na, we'll
Mhm.
see what happens," or whatever.
Yeah, see?
But when it comes to, like, important things, like we wanna plan something, like, that we wanna do, a trip is a really good, like, example. We're really good at planning trips, with, like, even your business, starting your own business or having a career or going to school or whatever. Like, you can't leave that stuff up to chance or to fate, you
Leave
that's
it up to
planning.
fate.
Yeah, it's working. It's, working hard to, like, get what you are. So I don't think that, we do this, and I don't really think that I know a lot of people in our generations that, like, maybe our parents because that's what kind of like what we heard growing up. I feel like, but yeah, it's not really like I don't feel like it's a for me just because of what I've experienced, and it's like again like a growing up thing. Like I don't look at it as a positive thing. Like it is triggering to me too.
Mhm. I mean, I would assume I don't know if your sweater is, like, an ironic thing
Mhm.
or if it's kind of like a take it easy, be laid
I
back.
got it because it reminded me of my mom, and I remember wearing it around her and be like, "Remember this?"
You
Like,
see this?
yeah. Like, but I don't like it's triggering in a way, but it's, like, funny. It's just, like
Yeah.
it's, like, kind of, like it's not, like, super serious, but it was just one of those things growing up that you would bug your mom for something, and she would say that, and you'd be like, instantly
I don't know.
effed.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just so interesting with the Tagalog language. Just one simple letter change, and it just changes the
Yeah,
whole
it changes, like, the
uh
I
whole
really
meaning of it.
Dave was here. So our good friend Dave, he's just very he speaks really good Tagalog. Like him and I sometimes text in just Tagalog as I was
I get
yeah.
nosebleeds when I'm trying to reply in
So,
Tagalog.
like, I like I said in the previous episode, like, I just came from the Philippines. I really wanted to speak Tagalog. Like, I can fully understand it. I thought I spoke it well until I got called out there. Dave and
Aw.
I would, like, talk and text in Tagalog because I wanted to practice, and Av sucks, so he won't, like, practice with me. So, I wish he was here because I feel like Dave is so good at the language and in the meanings and all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. So,
You can speak
yeah.
Tagalog to me. I mean, I don't know if I can reply back.
Yeah. No, that's okay. I'm
I'll know
okay.
what you're saying.
Yeah. I kind of got like just to share, so I kind of got shamed because not shamed, and it wasn't in
Ah,
a bad way or anything, but it was just like I was speaking Tagalog, I was so proud of myself, and I thought I was doing really, really well. I was like bargaining for like
yeah.
pasalubong, all that kind of stuff. And then someone was just like, you're they call it Taglish. So Taglish is like English and Tagalog together. I didn't think I was speaking Taglish. I thought I was speaking Tagalog. And she's like, your Taglish is really cute. And I was like, what? Like, I was kind of like, because I thought I was doing so well. Like, so when you go there
Yeah.
and you bargain with people, like, you don't want them to know that you're from America because they're
Mm,
automatically going to not bargain with you because they think you have
right.
like dollars and stuff. So I thought I was doing
Right.
really great. I guess I wasn't doing it well, but I thought I did well in terms of my bargaining skills. So I
I'm
guess
sure you
that's what matters.
did. I'm sure you
Yeah.
did. It's just one of those other toxic Filipino traits. You don't got something nice to say. Don't say it
Yes,
at all,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
No, it's fine. I'm
Keep it to
sure
yourself.
she didn't mean it in a negative way. It was just like I just really wanted to not seem like I was from the United States, and I guess I didn't come off that way. I don't think there's really a I don't think there's really a way around it. I think that just like
Yeah. I'm sure someone's
they
gonna call you out. They could tell if like you're a foreigner or whatever, like if you're not born here or like from around
yeah,
there.
yeah.
They can't wait to say, you're not from around here, are you?
We're not bargaining. We're not bargaining with you.
This is the same price, no bargain
Yeah,
whatsoever.
yeah.
Whatever.
All right.
Bahala. Bahala na.
Bahala na, bahala na. Yeah.
Okay, what's the
Okay.
next toxic trait?
Okay. So then I'm gonna skip the one that we have listed, but just because I really like the one after, because I don't know. Again, a lot of this is like what you grew up with, right? So it's like
Sure.
okay, it's called hiya. That's how you pronounce it, and it's just like being ashamed or embarrassed. Everything's nakakahiya. They call it like embarrassing, like whatever it is embarrassing or whatever. So like I don't know, man. You talk about this. I don't know like how to start here.
In this one, it says it's holding yourself back from speaking up because you're here. You're shy, so therefore you do not speak up. And that's the toxic trait of you learn to keep to yourself, to not cause a scene, don't
Mhm.
be OA,
Yeah, don't rock
don't
the
bring
boat.
attention to
Yeah,
yourself
yeah.
because it's embarrassing.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
And or you're embarrassing someone else.
Yeah, you're
It's
bringing
not
shame to
necessarily yourself.
bringing shame to your family or
Yes,
whatever.
it's so
Yeah,
so exaggerated, but yes,
yeah,
essentially, it's like you're putting us to shame by being
yeah,
this way.
yeah.
Don't you
Which is
have
like
any
a
yeah.
yeah, it's like a very it's and this is not just a it's like an Asian thing, I think. I think this is a very like,
Sure.
bring shame to your house like type
Mhm.
thing. And I just like
Shame on your
yeah,
family.
yeah. Like I just thought of I don't know, like I can't, but it's just my parents again would say like nakakahiya, which means like that's embarrassing. Like they would literally say that about like everything growing up or whatever. And it's God, I wish Dave was here. Like with Dave and I always talk about his mom's worst fear is running out of food during a family party. Like
Uh,
that's hella embarrassing to like run out of
but who is
food.
that embarrassing for?
The host, I think. I think the
Yeah,
host. Like if
but why do you
you're
think that they would be embarrassed?
because they didn't have the food.
But I guess in that sense, it's like having that shame, but it's because you've built up like an expectation for yourself
I
that you think other people will perceive you as wrong or embarrassing or shameful, when in reality, a lot of the times people don't really care about those kind of things.
Yeah. Okay, so I have something actually I could Dave's mom, he tells me this all the time about like, that's my mom's worst fear to run out of food. You know that you and Jay are usually always with me when I'm doing something at the house, right? When we're like preparing for like having people over, like you guys are always so lovely, come early, help me set up because Ab's usually like at the store working.
Mhm,
Don't I always worry about not having enough food? I always like you guys are always saying like it's fine, you bought enough.
mhm,
Like, I always remember Jay telling me that like it's fine, there's hella food, like don't worry. And yes, like I guess I do feel like that. It's like you're inviting people over to your house. They're your guests and you feel like they should be fed well, like so that's I guess like for me, I feel like if I don't have enough food, I'm embarrassed by it. Like, Mon, do you remember when we had the taco people come over and I was like
mhm.
stressed out because
No,
I
it
was
was
like,
when we had book club and we picked up food from
oh,
Chipotle.
yes. And
I mean,
also the
yes, that
taco,
time too,
yes, yeah,
um,
yeah. It was
but
like
there was
both times. It was like,
way
shit.
more food
Yeah.
with the taco
Yeah,
truck.
but for both, it was just like I bought extra meat because I thought there was enough. And at the end of the day, we have leftovers. But
Mhm,
I totally understand that part of like, I guess me thinking like, these are my guests. I invited them here. I want them to be well fed. But another thing that I'd like to say is this kind of goes back to like, if you're on Filipino time and you're going to show up 3 hours late, if there's no more food, that's not my problem, right? I mean,
okay.
like,
Then it goes back to is like, so do you worry about having enough food even for the late people?
no, no, bahala na.
Mm, oh, I like it. We're just combining
No, like I feel
all of the
like
toxic traits show up at Filipino parties.
and there's one that we don't have on this list, and it's the Tita mental health one.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know if we want to get into that
that's a
one,
whole
but
other
like,
episode.
yeah, but like, for me, like I have my boundaries. Like I want my guests fed, but if you're gonna show up hell, what's hella funny? If you showed up hella
Mm,
late and I knew you were showing up late, I'd probably make you a plate and put it aside to make sure you
mm.
had food when you
You're
arrived,
such a
and
good host.
not of embarrassment because like if I invited you to my house, I care. I don't just invite
You wanna
anyone to
take
my
care of them
yeah,
still regardless.
yes,
Yes,
yes, yeah,
of course, but
yeah.
it's, like, it's so weird that, like, a lot of those things overlap because if you're not feeling one way, you're feeling the other, and sometimes that's not very good either.
Yes, yeah.
Because yeah, it's kinda like if you're the host and you wanna make sure you have enough food for everyone, but
Mhm,
you feel bad if there isn't, or you feel embarrassed, you feel shame. But
mhm,
if you were a guest of a host, a guest of a party you were invited to, and it turns out there wasn't as much food, would you be as critical? Like if you came over to our house and we didn't actually have as much food. I mean, ignoring our snack
you guys
mountain.
have so much snacks.
If we don't have that,
Yeah.
we didn't have like
No,
anything
no, but
like an
totally
entree or an
yeah, like,
appetizer
well,
or
like,
something like that.
you're right, like, I wouldn't judge, like, I wouldn't be like, "Ooh, they invited us here and there's nothing to eat," or whatever,
But
like,
it could be because of like our generation, like we have
Mhm,
a different mentality about it.
mhm,
You it's possible to have both. You want to be able to have enough food to take care of the guests that you care about.
mhm.
And then at the same time, you can be a guest or you can have guests who are like, it's okay if you
Yeah,
don't have like enough
yeah,
food, or there's
right,
actually plenty or just enough. You
yeah.
do not need to have on all the time.
Right, right. Yeah, and it's always like at the end of the night, we're trying to, like, give food away.
Get
We're
it out.
always like,
Take it with
yeah,
you.
make yeah, yeah, stuff like that. So, Mon, what about you? What do you have, like, a scenario of, like, where, you felt like you're I don't
Oh,
know, like
my entire life.
yeah. Mhm,
Um, my entire life, it kind of goes back to like my resolution about wanting to speak up more, put myself out there because I've always felt like I have this amount of hiya. I am hiya. I am shy. Not necessarily shameful of anything, but I am just a shy person. And I do things to make myself small. I don't want to cause a ruckus. I don't want to cause a problem for anyone. I don't want to, make things uncomfortable or awkward. So I just have a lot of hiya to just not either take part of things or just be present or insert myself and take up space,
Mhm.
essentially. I was taught that's not a good thing. You're making it about yourself. You're bringing too much attention to yourself. You don't want that. They make it sound like it's such a bad thing to have, but then again, you're wanting attention because no one cares about you if you
Yeah,
don't put yourself out there.
right.
So I am working on that to not have that. Yeah, not to think of my shyness as like something that is a bad thing about me. Like I may not be the loudest person in the room. Sometimes I speak too low that jokes and whatever go beyond people's heads, and I'm trying to be okay with it. But yeah, I feel like it was a learned behavior. I mean, the resolution for this one says the harder thing to do is to speak up. There's no shame in doing that.
Mhm.
And yeah, sometimes, especially in like a work setting, right? Like in my line of work now, I have to speak up when things are wrong. I have to speak up. There's an issue or there's an important detail to include. And a lot of the times, speaking up is not a good thing in people's eyes, especially people that you work with. They don't like that because it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
They just
you're
wanna
stepping over things
right,
or
or
like,
even just, like, just go about your day without rocking the boat and not, like, causing any a
"Hmm,
fuss or whatever, right? It's just
yeah, the whole thing about making yourself small so that other people aren't offended or bothered by you. And it's like, it's not your responsibility. I'm learning that it's not my responsibility for how people react
yeah.
towards
Yeah,
me.
you can't
And
control other people's reactions, right? Like,
yeah,
that's one of the
exactly.
things that we talk about a lot.
And I think I'm working on it. If you have the same situation and you feel like you're not alone. We can work on it together.
Yeah.
We could be OA here and it's totally fine.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's a big one that a lot of people are working on, and I'm in full support of it. Let's change that mindset. Let's see the next one. Which one should we do?
I feel like the next one is, like, Pakikisama is kind of related, so do you wanna read what that one is? Because 'Cause I'm not, like I think I know what it is, but I'm not, like, super clear.
Pakiki-sama. Am I saying that right?
I think
Pakiki
so. I
Pakiki-sama.
yeah.
I don't know if
I
I'm putting the accent
I
in the right
I
place.
don't know if I've really heard it before in that way, but, like, okay, what do they
Just going Yeah, it says going along with things just to avoid conflict. And yes, I've heard of this term before.
yeah.
And it's kind of going along with here, excuse my Taglish. You pakiki-sama, so you have no yeah. You're just going along with everything so that
Mhm.
even though you don't agree with what's going on
Yeah.
or you have a different opinion,
Yeah. So
just
I'm
go
gonna
along with it.
yeah. So I'm gonna say something here, and I think that it would be really unfortunate for us not to bring this up, but, like, we talked about it, about the tita shaving, right? There's
Oh,
this whole movement not movement, but, like, a thing during this past holiday season, we were all laughing about it, but it was like was it like a tote bag or like a T-shirt or whatever? Is it
don't
like,
let your tita ruin your
tita.
mental health.
Yeah, don't let your tita, like, ruin your mental health. So, for those that don't know, and I'd kind of be shocked if people didn't know this. So, one of the things that as Filipinos that we have gone through or have seen or experienced is, you go to a family party or you go to your holiday party, and there's like they call them titas. They're like basically your aunts. They may or may not even be related to you, right?
Sure.
Like just
We just
like
call
you
all of them aunties.
yeah, out of respect, and I don't know if it still happened. I know it has happened in the past, but a lot of these times, and this is happens in different cultures. It's not just Filipino. I've seen this, and I've actually looked into this pretty well. But like comments about number one is like people's weight, how they look. Are they skinny? Are they fat? Like what's changed since the last time? Most of the time, you don't see these people for a very long time.
Mhm.
Your relationship status, like do you have a boyfriend, do you have a girlfriend, blah blah blah, are you married now, and all this kind of stuff, just like just literally picking at you for like every little thing. And it's like when they say pakikisama, it's like most of the time we just shut up and take it because you don't want to make your parents look bad, or you don't want to shame someone or whatever, but like they're kind of like just digging in. So for me, that's an example of like pakikisama, because you don't say anything. Most people, when their titas are, saying this and that to them, it's just like you don't say anything. You just like nod your head and like agree or
Laugh
whatever.
about it
Yeah,
or
like it's a
yeah.
joke or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's super hurtful.
And they don't think that's hurtful because they don't think it's, like, with malicious intent or
Mhm.
whatever. It's like they're just curious. They want to
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Or
but,
it's
deep
just like,
down, they
yeah,
just want the
yeah.
business.
And it's just like, exactly. So going on to the next, but it's also like one of those things like, I'm just saying,
Usually the follow-up answer.
yes, yeah, it's just like, why are you saying? Well, I'm just saying it's the truth. Like you did get fat, or like you did, you are single or whatever. It's just like those things where it's just like so hurtful. It's like such a generational thing. And like, man, people's mental health, I think, really took a toll because of this whole like tita, mentality and all that kind of stuff. So it's something like, for this kind of like moves away from the pakikisama, but it's just like you should speak up if something like that happens to you or anything, right? It's just like speak up for yourself, I think, and don't just like nod your head and laugh because like you didn't know what to say, or you don't want to disrespect someone or whatever. But I've been in that situation. I think we've all been in that situation, and it's so awful.
Yeah. It's definitely something to unlearn if that's how you grew up because that's how people made small talk for some reason.
Yeah, you're
Um,
right.
and it's like there's more to myself than just what I look like and what I
Mhm.
have.
Yes, yeah.
But I mean, if I wanna share it with you, like, let me do it, but everything you're saying is unsolicited information.
Yeah,
Like, I didn't
yeah.
ask you to tell me about my weight or my relationship
Relationship sta
status.
yeah,
Like, if
yeah,
I wanna share
definitely.
with you that I'm dating someone or I got married, then so be it.
Yeah.
Maybe if I'm wearing a ring and it's just like, "Ooh, are
Yeah,
you
yeah.
married?" Okay, sure, because 'cause I'm flaunting it, but
Yeah.
if I'm not coming out and saying, I may have gained some weight,"
Yeah. Just in
like,
case you haven't noticed, right?
don't don't say anything.
Yeah. But I honestly think that I can pretty confidently say that I feel like we're moving out of that. I feel like, our generation, everyone's very careful to not talk to like the younger generation about those kind of things. Like I know, and I think it's just like one of those things that everyone learned from, and it's just like, dang, that's super hurtful. Let's not continue, I think. So I think that this is like the whole like Tita, mental health thing. I think that there's really like a movement away from it. Do you think so, Mon, or are you still like seeing it? Because I feel like I've seen a lot of improvement from it, at least,
Um,
what I've experienced.
like, yeah, in your circles, right? And usually in your circles, you wanna be around the people and you usually have the same mentality.
Mhm.
I would say that I still experience this, and I think I've just learned to not be so defensive, like, not necessarily pakikisama,
Mhm.
with those type of things, but I kind of just understand, acknowledge that they grew up in a generation that's, like, the type of questions they ask, and, as long as I can sense that it's not malicious in any way, I just either yeah, I'd be like I play it off really casually, or I just straight up say like, "Nah, I'm not pregnant. I just gained weight." Like, you know what? So now do
That's
you feel
another thing.
bad?
Yeah, no, like, like, asking people, like, if they're having kids. Like, it's not, if you really think about it, like, I know, like, it's older generations, like, dude, there's so many things that people are going through that you don't know about. One, people may not want kids. People may be having trouble having kids. Like, just
Sure.
different things, different experiences that you don't know about, and it's so insensitive to, like, just ask off the cuff to someone that you haven't seen for a long time, or you don't know what's going on with, type
Sure.
thing. That's another topic that I totally neglected to mention, but yeah, you're totally right. Like that's
Yeah,
probably one
because
you get asked all the time.
yeah, I mean, to be honest, I work with some titas. I have aunties at
You
work.
do.
And, they know that I'm Filipino, and they ask me just, like, out of curiosity. They know that I'm married, and, it's like I don't see them every day, so it's like after a few months, it's like, "Oh, hi, how are you? So no kids yet?" And I'm like, "No, not yet." And I could either be, like, super defensive and be like, "Why? Did I gain weight? Like, what is it about?"
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
know better. It's just like, I don't know, I don't really wanna let it affect me in that way
Yeah, and
where
that's
it's gonna put
another
me in a bad
thing.
mood
Yeah.
because they're very sweet aside from, like, those really intrusive
Yeah.
questions.
And you're right, it's kind of just like someone said this to me recently, and it's just like, for us, like, our parents' generations, they're not gonna change. They're not gonna
Mhm.
change. It's pretty much up to you to react, like, so how you can say, like, you can't control how other people's act or react, but you can control how you take it. So,
Right.
I was talking to someone and they have issues with people, parents that are older, and it's just like trying to work through that and acknowledging that it's going to be really hard for your 70 or 75-year-old father to like change his opinions on whatever. So it's really just up to you to figure out how you're gonna accept that or how you're gonna react to it. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're basically saying. Like you've chosen to just take it lightly and not let it offend you and not let it like ruin your day or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, the resolution for this one, they say to set boundaries even if it feels uncomfy. We don't respect elders that don't respect us. And I know that's a very touchy subject,
Yes, yeah, that's for
because
another. Yeah,
respecting your
there's a
elders
lot
is
of
like a
that.
big one.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we'll have
But
to do a part 2 on this like later on.
yeah, let us know
Yeah,
if you're enjoying
yeah,
this so far. Let us know if you
yeah.
want a part 2. There's plenty of
There's
toxic
like
traits
Mon,
to
I
talk
do
about.
have to say, so like the thing that you just said, how you said like, it's your choice to take it a certain way, to not
Mhm.
let yourself get worked up or defensive or whatever. So one of the reasons that I think that you're able to do that is because of how old you are and how mature you are. So a lot of
Mm.
this tita stuff happens when we're growing up, right? When you're
Yeah.
like in your preteens, when you're teenagers and you don't have those like coping mechanisms, I guess, to not let it affect you. So I feel like that's when it's really unfortunate when it happens because those are things that you probably can take with you for the rest of your life. So I feel like you're a mature enough person to be like, I'm not going to let this shit get to me. And that kind of comes with age, right? It's like when you're
Yeah.
younger, you're just like, fuck this. Why are you, like,
Yeah, because it's
talking to
easy
me
to
like,
get angry, right? It's easy to get
yeah.
angry and so-called speak up for yourself, but really you're
Hmm.
speaking in anger. And
Hmm.
it's really like if you're giving power to like those type of words, it's like you're already in a losing battle here.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
gonna be happy. You're not gonna be happy with the situation. Okay to not accept it, but
Hmm.
you don't have to be angry. Leave that conversation like angry.
Right.
Just
Right.
bahala na.
Bahala na.
In that situation, it's probably the better thing to do is bahala na.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Just leave them alone. It's
Yeah.
um, but I grew up in it's not that I've never heard it. We all grew up with it, like you said. I grew up in a family, of course, that just kept commenting how ang laki how you are. Like I don't know how to say the rest of that sentence, but I always remember them saying, "Oh, look how big you are! You're getting so big." And I know that saying you're big isn't necessarily mean you're getting so tall. They also probably mean you're getting so big width wise. And I mean, I admit I'm both. Like I'm taller than your average Filipino.
She's
Um
tall, deceivingly tall. If I
I
mean, for
am
you that haven't met her in real life, she's a,
I'm five
she's a tall
six.
gal.
That's very tall for a Filipina. Okay. And so when I'm towering over all of my titas saying, "Hi, tita," it's just instantly, "Oh, lucky naman." And it's just like, "Mm, are you saying how tall I am or are you saying how wide I am? Because you could mean both."
Yeah. Mhm.
And both
Yeah.
could be true, but it's just like, does that really have to be the first
The
thing you say?
first thing you say, yeah, yeah. And
Just
like
like,
we
"Hi."
yeah, like we've talked about this, like this is and I know like people that listen who know me know that this is one of those things that like my entire life I have been overweight and have dealt with weight issues and it's just like titas would say stuff to me at like 8 years old, like no joke,
Oh, yeah.
like
It started from the
talking,
very beginning.
yeah, and it's just like, are you guys insane? Like I am in my 40s now and I still remember that conversation when I was 8 when you told me that I was fat. It's just
Mhm.
like it does so much to a person mentally, like you have no idea. Like that person might not know like how bad you have just
Yeah.
like scarred that person for life, and it's just
Or even
um
on the flip side, like, you could be super skinny. Like, a
yeah,
lot of Filipinos are, like, really petite, very tiny,
yeah,
like, very slender, and they could even flip it on you and be like, "Oh, you're so skinny now, you
yeah,
should eat
yeah,
something," and it's like, you can't
yeah,
win. You
yeah.
cannot win.
Right, right, right. It's like eat all your food, but you're getting fat. So
Yeah,
what
yeah,
do
yeah.
you want me to do? Do you want
You're
me to eat your
disrespecting me by not
Yeah.
eating my food,
Yes,
but
yeah.
also, are you
No.
eating again? God dang it.
All right, all
Anyway,
right. Okay, so it's time.
okay,
Okay, so let's
uh,
brighten things up. We're gonna do or lighten things up. Let's do one more.
okay.
And this one is like one that I don't even know if I can leave this behind. But for the last one that we have on our list is chismes. So for
Ugh,
you guys,
chismis.
chismes, like if you don't know, it's just gossiping. We should not be gossip. I don't know. Like I don't feel like I don't know when I talk to you like on an everyday basis, pretty much, right? Like we text every
Mhm,
day, we see each other.
mhm.
I don't know if we really gossip or we're just. I don't feel like we really talk about other people, but we're just talking. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know. Am I making shit up or what? But I'll be honest. Like I can't give this up. I have like a group chat that's been ongoing for 10 years with like my high school friends, and this is all we do. And I'm
It
sure a lot of people do. So
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a hard thing to stop doing because it's part of society in the sense of,
mhm.
like, how you communicate with others, and this one is chismis gossiping to connect to others. So it's not just
Mm.
having the
Okay.
gossip, but it's literally having the chismis with the intent to talk about people, whether it's a good or bad way. Because you know, like you're saying, like, you have a group chat with, your friends from high school, and it's always like, "Did you hear about so and so from,
Yeah, yeah.
5th
But
grade or
Yeah, but
something?" And
I
it's
so
like,
what I do have to say is something that I don't really like doing is like I don't like talking about like if something bad happened to you or whatever. There's people that I'm like I hold very like sacred, like my family and stuff like I don't
There's
gossip about that. If
Sure.
you told me something, like I wouldn't turn around and be like, "Oh my god, Monica." It's a lot of the gossip is like people that it's like social media, people that you
Yeah.
haven't seen for a really long time. It's people that celebrities, like, just like people like you don't even know those people or whatever. Like, oh, so like, oh, Mandy Moore is getting into wait, not Mandy. I'm like starting gossip. Mandy Moore's like, who's the one that's getting a divorce? Jessica Alba is, stuff like that. It's
Oh,
a
she
lot of like,
is?
yeah,
I don't know.
she is. And so is Jessica Simpson is also
Oh,
getting
god.
divorced.
Well,
So
did
just
you know
like,
Mandy Moore is living with Hillary Duff right now because of, like, the funniest stuff?
yes,
Like, yeah,
I did see that. So that
we're
kind of like,
gossiping to connect to each other? Is
yeah,
that a bad thing?
I think we're already connected. So we're definitely not gossiping to connect with each other, but it's just like, for me, like I don't like gossiping about like people that I'm close to. If
Yeah.
one of my friends in the group chat told me something really, really serious, I wouldn't like tell other people. I have my boundaries, is what I'm trying
There
to
you
say.
go.
Yeah.
Have your
Yes.
boundaries.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally. Like, I mean, the resolution for this one, they say if you bond over talking behind others' backs, expect the same in return. Respect your friends. Honestly, I'm trying to accept the fact that, yes, I mean, whether or not I chismis, someone's probably chismissing about
Yeah.
me,
It's
whether
just
it's good
part
or
of
bad,
life, right? Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's part of life.
I hope that, it's not always, like, bad stuff, but I can't help someone who decides to talk about me behind my back, like, do whatever you want, and they can believe you if they want, but it's
Yeah.
like, if if your main thing keeping your friendship together is to gossip about other people, I think is what it's saying, then that's not good. Because it's like you literally are just
That's all
talking to
you
this
do.
person
Yeah.
to talk essentially smack about somebody else.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's not healthy. You shouldn't be talking about somebody if that's all you're doing to, like, keep in touch
Yeah.
with someone. But,
Yeah.
obviously, if you have friends you're close with beyond that,
Yeah, yeah.
that
There's a
isn't your
lot
basis.
we talk like, let's see, my group I'll share we call it tita talk because we talk about so
Oh,
many random things. A lot of it's not
so
gossip.
you guys are the titas?
We just made this thing because we just talk about like the randomest things. But last week we talked about eggs like the whole week, like that,
The
like
eggs.
because like the eggs are hell expensive right now. Someone got eggs and the yolks were really dark, and is this a bad thing? Like, so we spent days. Oh my god, I can't believe
No, it
I'm
should
sharing
be
this.
tea talks. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like instead of tita talks, it should
Mhm.
be tea talks, like as if you're giving tea, but you're talking, but it's also tita and talking.
Yes, yes, yeah, I will suggest they listen. I think they listen to our podcast
Oh,
too. So,
hi.
yeah, so, like, last week we talked about eggs, like, this week today specifically, the whole conversation was about how much do you pay for your cable? It's just
Hey.
like yeah, so it's just like, do you still have cable? Do you guys stream everything? I told them that we're canceling NBA League Pass because the Warriors suck and I don't want to pay for to watch them, Stuff like just like we don't always gossip. Like it's fun when we do, but it's definitely like,
Hey.
a group that's known each other for oh my god, like 30 years. We talk about our kids, we talk about our families, and it's just like it's honestly like such a group that is just so close and like it's like a daily thing that we chat, but
Yeah.
there's definitely gossip, like for sure there's
Yeah,
gossip, but
it's a bonding thing, let's face it. It's a
yeah,
bonding thing, but it's not the root
the
of
thing
your
that
friendship.
keep yeah, yeah. And I think like for you and I, like I feel like, we're pretty new friends, but I will like gratefully and like happily say like you're one of my best friends and really don't talk about a lot of people. I don't even know what we talk about half
We
the
do
time.
not chismis at
Yeah.
all.
But like, that's not what our relationship is based on. I don't even know
Yeah,
what it's based on. It's based on soap, I think. But like,
soap,
um,
candles,
yeah. But
Olay.
yeah. But I think it's like negative chismis, like when you talk about people that are like, close to you, your family. Like, I don't think that that's right. I,
Mm,
I don't like doing that. So, but I get that
yeah.
part. But when we're chismising about like celebrities and all that stuff, I think that's okay. I don't think Hillary Duff's gonna mind if we talk about Mandy Moore living in her house. She
Yeah,
won't know.
I'm pretty sure she's got the Bahala na,
Yeah.
mentality
Attitude.
about forget
Yeah.
what this lowly peasant has to say.
Yeah.
I'm
I
in
don't
my
think she
mansion.
I don't think she listens very often, so she might not hear this
No.
episode. So
If you
yeah.
do, hi.
Hi.
I'm a
I
fan.
love you. I loved you in Younger.
I love Younger. It's on Netflix now.
Oh my god. Did you hear about Sutton Foster and Hugh Jackman?
Oh my god. Here we go, the chismis.
Yeah, okay.
Ah,
Okay.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's cool because I think that one's cool because I feel like at least he didn't go for like a 20-year-old girl or whatever. It's like he's staying within his like okay. That's for another we should have like a chismis episode, but we'd have to like turn it around quick because celebrity gossip is so fast. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, all
Oh,
right, all
yeah,
right.
that's true, that's true.
Yeah.
Um, um, well, I think we just skipped, like, a few, but I think that was, like, most of the
Yeah.
toxic traits from this
Mhm.
post. I guess that kinda wraps up this episode?
Yeah. We'll end it on a happy note.
Yes.
Yes.
What's the happy note?
Sutton Foster and Hugh Jackman. I don't know.
And, our our happy note is that our friendship is not based on
On
chismis.
Chismis, yes, that's the happy
We
note, yeah.
may have a little chismis here and there,
Yeah.
but it's not the root of everything.
No, no,
Anyway.
okay.
Anyway. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy oh, did I hit my mic? I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed this episode.
That
I
was
thought it was a really
actually
good
fun,
way
yeah.
to talk.
But again, like,
Um,
we could totally if you guys are interested, like, let us know if it's some there's so in all honesty, Monica and I have been tiptoeing around this. We were trying to do something like this from the very beginning, but we
yes.
kind of not really disagreed, but we
It's okay.
couldn't
We
decide.
disagreed.
Yeah, we a little bit
It's
disagreed
okay.
on, like, what direction we wanna take it because it could also
Yes.
be very personal, right? Because a lot of
Yes.
this is, like, our upbringing and all that kind of stuff, which we talked about a little, but there's so much more to this topic, right? So if it's something that you guys
Yeah.
are interested in, let us know and maybe we'll bring it back and maybe we'll have some guests along
Yeah.
with us. Yeah.
Maybe we'll actually have Dave on here
Dave.
to
Yeah.
say these
That's
things
the
correctly.
exact guest I was talking about. So yes.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, if anything, we'd love to have you back for another episode. If you haven't listened to our previous episodes, definitely go back and check those out.
Mhm.
What did you really think about like the toxic traits? Do you experience some of these? Or have you observed any of these with your Filipino friends if you're not Filipino yourself? If so, kind of give us a pass because it is something very commonly
Yeah. We
among the Filipino people.
live and breathe these toxic traits pretty much.
Yes,
So
have
yeah.
some patience with them. Hopefully they are trying to resolve those toxic
Yes.
traits.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have like something to say about these toxic traits, if you agree with us, if you disagree, we'd love to hear from you guys. Please send us like send us an OA text message. It's in the link down below, or in our bio, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Or
there.
just obviously like you can DM us on Instagram or you can leave us a comment on the YouTube
Mhm.
channel. We just love to hear from you.
Yes, right. All right, so don't forget to don't forget to follow, like, rate, subscribe, everything,
All
for
of it.
us, all of it. We're on YouTube, Instagram, no longer on TikTok after this.
By this
TikTok
time,
will be, yeah, pretty
bye
gone by
TikTok.
here. But yeah, we appreciate your support, and we're, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's it.
until next time, friends.
AOA
AOA
in the best way.
in the best way.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Mahalo na. Bye.
Whatever.
In a good way,
Bye.
though.
Yes,
In a good way.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.